Look at the supermarket shelf. So crowded. How is your product going to stand out? You need to be different, and you need to be what the consumer is asking for at the right moment.
Do you think organizations should think about having sales innovation centers?
Few clients I'm working with have their own innovation centers. So they bring their clients there together with their sales team, spend a day there. They can explore kind of what you have to offer. So I think that can be applied definitely to different industries. We have a process called from zero to hero. In 3 months, you can start a project and you will have a product ready for industrialization. Most companies will take 18 months to innovate because there's a lot of different loops. So we do that all in one workshop. A lot of times in my career, I have witnessed when sales goes to pitch something, and after 5 minutes, you literally see them gazing away. You've lost their interest completely because guess what? It's just a one-way dialogue. Sales is trying to sell something, but the customer is not in it. What co-creation does is it's a collaborative way to innovate, engaging the customer at its core.
If you have to say one thing for the entire sales audiences, what's that one thing?
I would say
So sales at its core is not just about selling, right? It's about sparking ideas, igniting possibilities, and co-creating value that drives industries forward. Some of the most successful businesses don't just sell products. They craft experiences, challenge the norms, and rethink the way customers engage with their brands. So on Sales Igniter, we shine a light on industry leaders, innovators, and visionaries who bring fresh perspectives to how we approach sales and business strategies. And today we are joined by Seda Solmaz, a trailblazer, a co-creator, an innovator, is known for her superpower to empower. I love that, right? Food and beverage manufacturers to create bigger, bolder ideas that generate incremental revenue growth. From leading 200 plus co-creation workshops to captivating audiences as a MasterChef turkey contestant, Seda blends creativity and fresh perspectives. With 2 decades of experience, Seda knows exactly how to blend inside creativity and commercial impact to drive real business transformation. So Seda, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for coming and, gracing your presence, because it's so interesting to hear about your story. And what caught my attention was co-creation, which you stand by very, very strongly, right? So to start off with, what's the biggest misconception about co-creation? I would love to hear from you.
So first of all, thank you so much. It's really lovely to be a guest on your podcast and to share our little unique wisdom about co-creation. So Idea Atelier specializes in co-creation, and what makes co-creation different is it's a two-way dialogue.
Great.
Rather than a one-way dialogue.
Yeah.
So a lot of times in my career, I have witnessed, when sales goes to pitch something to the clients, and after 5 minutes, you literally see them gazing away. You've lost their interest completely because guess what? It's just a one-way dialogue, right? Sales is trying to sell something, but the customer is not in it.
Right.
So what co-creation does is it's a collaborative way to innovate, engaging the customer at its core.
Right.
And it does 3 things really for both organizations, for the one selling and for the one that's being sold.
Okay.
So the first thing is cross-functional collaboration. So this is where we bring all the different stakeholders from the company, whether this be finance, marketing, R&D, sales. I've heard a lot of times finance people will say, it's an innovation workshop, like I do with numbers.
Yeah.
But their unique perspective brings a different angle, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
To the entire workshop and to the work itself. So the cross-functional collaboration is super key. And it also gets them aligned, right, on the objective or the challenge. So that's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
The second part is fresh ways of thinking.
Right.
Look, we've all been there. Like after you work for a company for 10, 15, 20 years, you kind of get into the routine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you start to see things the way you see things.
Right.
Versus the way they are.
Yeah.
So this fresh perspective actually really helps clients to come out of their comfort zone. And that's what we do. We expose them to kind of fresh perspective, different ways of thinking about a challenge, which actually leads to different solutions.
Right.
Right? And the third thing is all about unleashing
Okay.
the people's intrinsic creativity.
Amazing.
You know, I had many people after workshops come up to me and say, thank you so much. I never knew I was that creative.
Okay.
And that's an incredible thing for me to
Absolutely.
hear, because people always assume marketing people are the most creative. That is not true. If you
Right.
follow a certain process,
Yeah.
anyone can be creative.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what we do in co-creation, is to really bring that strength forward.
Right. And I love what you said, that unleashing your insight or your inner creativity, because many of them do not know that they can come out with something different, something new. So I think co-creation really helps that that aspect to come out, among individuals. And what caught my attention is also that you said everybody has an ability to be creative. It's just that when you bring them into the equation is when they unleash their thought process. And I think
And if I can just make a comment there, that's what I think makes the whole approach super different.
Yeah.
Is that the clients get engaged from start to end.
Right.
And not only the key decision maker, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you need key decision makers, right,
Yeah.
in these workshops. But I don't mean only the CEO or the
Got
MD. You are talking about the senior leaders across functions
Yeah.
having a stake in this.
Yeah.
So what happens is actually the more engaged they are,
Yeah.
the more they own the ideas that come out.
Yeah.
And the more they own the ideas, the faster they execute.
You're right.
Faster they execute, faster you make the sale.
Yes. Yeah.
So it really is a different way to approach sales. I always say it's like a very indirect way of selling.
Correct.
But it is 1000% more effective.
Yeah, I think also the definition of sales from my perspective is, I always say that when you involve your client or your peers into the equation and creating something new, that is sales, right? Sales is not about just selling a product. So I think co-creation is such an important factor, and especially in today's world, because everybody has certain things they are being really exposed to, and bringing that into the equation it's a brilliant thing. And I think you're doing a fantastic job, and it's a big learning for all of us that why co-creation is such an important aspect in selling. And I like what you said, that it's not only a marketing job to be creative and to bring out that messaging. Everybody has to bring in their perspective and own that part of it, which accelerates the speed. So brilliant takeaways on this.
Absolutely. And I think just one comment is, we know or not, we are always co-creating.
Yes.
And I don't know if you are, but I'm into manifestation.
Yeah, I am too.
We are at any moment co-creating with the universe.
Absolutely.
So if you think about it, co-creation is not a new concept.
Yeah.
Right? We are co-creating, and co-creating means you just don't sit there and dream about it, right?
Yeah.
You work at it.
Yeah.
You take the actions, and you will manifest.
Absolutely.
Same thing goes for companies. Same
Yeah.
things go for sales.
Right, absolutely. Brilliant. I love this. I'm already loving this conversation. So, Seda, you have run 200 plus co-creation of workshops where you're involving a lot of, different stakeholders, and especially from the food and beverage, right? That's your expertise. What is that one story or one bold co-creation story or something which stands out, which really talks about how it helped businesses to accelerate in growth? I would love to hear that.
So I will actually take you back to 2017.
Okay.
So world before COVID, world before a lot of things changed.
Yeah.
At the time, I was working with a major dairy player in Turkey. And they were just like any other dairy, right? Kind of struggling in the commodity business.
Okay.
Because in the plain milk, they weren't making much money, but it was running their factories. So they had a big interest in terms of exploring value-added dairy products.
Okay.
The purpose for that was to bring more profitability into the business, right?
Okay.
So the comfort zone thinking was, okay, let's do yogurt, let's do butter, let's do creams, laban, kefir, these kind of products, right? But we brought in a fresh perspective. So we said, okay, forget that it's a dairy. Let's look at what trends are happening in the market.
Amazing.
Right? And one of their goals was to appeal to younger generation at the time. Okay, so they wanted to, because it was a very traditional brand, so they wanted to appeal to a much younger demographic.
Okay.
And obviously their needs are different, right, than your core consumers.
Yeah.
So when we looked at the youngsters, we saw protein was becoming trendy.
Wow, yes.
So we saw a lot of people going to the gym and they were drinking protein shakes.
Right.
What they were making is buy the protein powder and then they would add it to milk or water. And that was the aha moment for us. We said, okay, what if we actually had a protein drink?
Okay.
That was a milk-based protein drink that was ready to go.
Right.
So at the time, again, remember 2017, this category did not exist in the Middle East.
Okay.
So then we said, okay, let's work around this proposition. The client was at the beginning very hesitant, right? Because it was so out of their comfort.
Yeah.
Protein, we're a dairy company.
Yeah.
But they had access to a lot of whey protein, obviously, because they were dealing with fresh milk.
Yeah.
And milk processing. So then they actually, together what we did is we kind of drafted a unique value proposition for this product. So they actually used lactose-free milk in the product, which gave natural sugars. So they wouldn't have to add sugar into the formulation. And then, they did the typical chocolate, vanilla, strawberry to go to market with. And it was a hit overnight.
Wow.
And since 2017, they've made, of course, millions of dollars.
Right.
Just in the last few years, they introduced 2 new SKUs. I think there's like a peanut butter honey.
Okay.
And then there's another version that they launched in the market, but they are still the category captain.
Oh, great.
And the thing is, after 2017, obviously, after their launch in the region, and I'm proud to say that launch, and this is Punar, by the way.
Okay.
Punar.
Oh, nice.
Big leading dairy.
Dairy,
So the Punar protein milk was actually the pioneer of protein milk in 2017.
You're right.
And now, please go in the supermarket, look on the shelves, you will see everybody. Al-Marai has it, Nada has it, Nadek has it, Arla has it.
Yeah.
So it's become trend, obviously, but we were there first. And I'm really proud to share that story because that really shows, first of all, how you step out and look at things differently can really be a game changer.
Yeah. I think very importantly, identifying the trends. I mean, in sales, we always say identify the trends of your client, what is changing the industry.
Absolutely.
And I think that's brilliantly captured in the way you mentioned that. First, identify what's the trend, look for your niche market, because there is somebody outside of what you're already serving. So figure that out and think out of the box, right? And create value for your client. I mean, these are like really, really brilliant points you brought up. And it's always possible. I mean, you will always find that when you are coming up with a bold idea to your client, they will be uncomfortable. But right?
But the magic here was I didn't come up with the idea.
Okay.
We came up with
together. Yeah.
And that's the game changer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I assure you, if I went there like a typical consultant and said, you know what, you should do this.
Yeah.
50% chance they wouldn't have acted on it, right? Because they had no stake in it.
Yeah.
They weren't there throughout the journey. They didn't look at the insights together. They didn't understand the needs together. So that's where it really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's where it helps to bring an external pair of eyes into your business.
Yeah.
Because once you're in it, as we said, before, you get so used to certain ways of thinking.
Yes.
Your brain becomes conditioned. And that's what I love about what I do.
Yeah.
I can go to any company in food and beverage.
Right.
And I can bring my own perspective. Right? Which is totally different than theirs.
Yeah.
And not only mine, into like a lot of our workshops, I bring guest speakers.
Right.
I will bring different people to talk about different, ways of innovation or how they innovate. Like I will bring a chef who talks about how they create dishes. And that's still a fresh perspective for the customer. And it makes them think in ways that they never did before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is, again, another important factor is that how do you involve the experts into the whole equation when you're consulting or when you're talking to your client, because that gives more comfort and confidence because you're talking to someone who's done it, been there, and working with the expertise you have. And that's a brilliant way. I mean, this is so much aligned to how selling happens. And this is one of the things I always want to bring through in conversations with experts like you on this podcast is that every field, when you look at, there is so much of resonance to the sales world, and sales is not just a function; it is a part of the entire. It's not a function. It's you, me, all of us are selling in certain ways every time, right? So co-creation is a new word for selling. Actually, I mean, if you don't involve your clients, do you also see that because today clients are so much aware and so much information? During that process of helping them see the trend and bringing them on board, what kind of resistance do you see from other stakeholders, and how do you kind of help them overcome that? Because there's so much information right out there, so many things happening.
Right.
Maybe one or two very specific, which I can, because this is a question always asked. Oh, you know what? This customers already know a lot of stuff. So how do I go and what else do I talk about to them? So
you're referring more to the internal
Yeah.
alignment, right?
Yeah.
So look, I've been in organizations for most of my career, professional life, and I've always felt that struggle, right? I was always in marketing. And we always had some sort of friction with sales. The thing to notice is these are the two functions any company needs to perform.
Right.
And they need to work together.
Right.
I think a lot of times, I'll be very frank here, salespeople get threatened, by marketing people.
Right.
Because they think, they're going to take my job, or they will take my customer. This is not at all what marketing is there to do. So sales is responsible for selling a product or a service. And as marketeers, we're there to create the need for it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. So marketing is about the eyes and getting to know and show that how it can be innovatively present. And sales actually takes that forward and converts that into a conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think the best companies, when you talk about marketing and sales working in synergy, they empathize with each other. So I do understand that sales have certain targets to reach.
Right.
And sales has to understand that, I have to create the desire for the product. Because if I don't create that, they will not buy it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's empathy. There's also trust between good marketing teams and sales teams.
Absolutely.
They need to trust each other.
Yeah.
And they need to be one team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of times the customer focus gets lost because you get, stuck in internal politics.
Yeah.
And you actually waste time versus adding value, working together. And here I also felt the senior leadership buy-in is very important.
Yeah.
So the senior leaders need to give you space, both functions, right?
Yeah.
To do their job
properly
and work together because we're all working towards the same goal.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is, right, to be successful, to increase our revenue, profitability,
Yeah.
while having a happy customer at the end of the day.
Absolutely. That's a common goal for the organization
100%.
and for individuals as well, because
100%.
that's the only reason of being relevant there and being there, as an organization. Why are we actually functioning? It's because you want to have a common objective met. So do you, so in this whole process, for me, storytelling is a very exciting topic always. We had a guest where comes from an entertainment industry, and I was telling that entertainment industry really does a great job in storytelling, right?
Yeah.
So in the process of co-creation, does the art of storytelling become a very important aspect while you're interacting with the stakeholders, with your customers, with your internal customers, the external customers? Where does storytelling come in this whole process?
I spent quite a lot of time to read about storytelling, to improve my own storytelling,
Right.
for my personal brand, but also my company, obviously. And the one thing that is key and it stands out in every story is really the end result.
Right.
I think a lot of companies waste a lot of time and resources in selling a product.
Right.
Or a service, right? This is what it's going to do for you. This is the best. You should buy this. The thing is, if as a customer, I cannot imagine myself using that product or service,
Right.
it is completely irrelevant.
Okay.
So I think a good storytelling strategy would be focusing on the outcome.
Right.
So if you're selling a product, instead of focusing on, let's say, the nutritional benefits of the product, or it has 20 grams of protein, 2 grams of sugar, instead of all of that, you can talk about how that product enables you
Right.
to start the day, right?
Yeah, yeah.
On high energy.
Right.
Without the sugar crash.
Yeah.
Without the cravings.
Yeah.
So that's another way to look at it. And I think in our co-creation workshops, we do that brilliantly. Because every workshop starts with a dream.
Wow. That's amazing.
So we sit down with the client
Okay.
and we have them dream.
Okay.
We ask them, what do you want?
Okay.
Where do you want to go? Right? Why you want to go there? By asking the why questions, the how questions, we can really get down to the bottom of their challenge
Yeah.
or the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I always say to win the sales battle, 50% of it is actually starting with the customer's need.
Absolutely.
If
Brilliant.
you already know the customer's need,
Yeah.
you are halfway there.
Yeah.
You are going to close that sale so much
Correct.
faster
Yeah.
because you know they want your solution.
Yeah,
They need
absolutely.
your solution.
Yes. Yes.
So I
Yeah.
think that's how storytelling can really make a huge difference. Just focus on the outcome first and then use whatever tools you have to sell as enablers.
I love that what you said, like storytelling is not about talking about the product, but it's about what the product can do to you and how it can enable you, and everybody's needs are different. With you, probably it could be, if somebody comes to me, it could be about, I want to feel energetic in the morning, so what should I have? Or for somebody else, it would be like, I feel very lethargic in the evening, so what?
Right.
So the difference is it's so different because both their lifestyles could be different, and why do you want to feel energetic in the morning versus, so it is so important to understand the need. I love that what you said. In our sales world, we say that need behind the need. Why is the customer's need? What is the customer's need, and what's the need behind that need, which is triggered the need? So that is like half battle one, and then helping them visualize. But I love the point you also mentioned about dream first. Visualize what you want to be there. And would that also relate back to manifestation? Are you helping your client manifest?
100%. It's
Okay,
a
I love
business
that.
manifestation, 100%. That's so true.
Yeah.
And you know, just I think as an example, just to put things in context, you know, like sometimes clients will tell you they need something. For
Yeah.
instance, I would give from our world, right? FMB. Client will tell me, I want to launch an energy drink. Okay, so if I run with that brief, we will design an energy drink in a sea of energy drinks, right? And it will be probably another Me Too proposition.
Yeah.
Yes, we can do some magic and we can create something that doesn't exist. Of course, we can do that, but that's not the client's real desire.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved what you said, need behind the need.
Yeah.
So the moment I ask them, okay, why do you want to launch an energy drink? Because people are always, you know, tired and fatigued, and young generation, they love energy drinks. Okay, but to give them sustainable energy, maybe we do something with coffee.
Yeah.
Maybe we do something with matcha. Maybe we do something with protein.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the solution can look very different than an energy drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like, since we're having a sales conversation, this is where a lot of sales goes wrong because the digging is not there.
Yeah.
Right?
Uncovering.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the client will say something and we just take it as is. But we should be curious. I
Yeah.
think curiosity is a
I love that.
huge underrated behavior. We need to
Absolutely.
ask why.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, why do you feel like that? Why do you want to go there?
Right.
Because then we can really find one or two things that we can literally
Yeah.
grab on, and that's just going to lead the way to sales.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that point you said. Curiosity, actually, to be curious, you need to be prepared as well. You need to be knowing what's happening in your
Sure.
customer's world.
Sure.
So that you ask those right questions to uncover their need. Because when there's a need, the client calls you, or you're going there and creating the need.
Yes.
But that alone, the client is not able to probably visualize beyond a point when they talk about a need. An energy drink is probably a certain distance the person is actually able to, think about. But when you ask why an energy drink, now suddenly the client's mind is open and thinking, oh, you know why? Because it's for the younger generation. And now you're able to consult. I love that curiosity to really understand what your client really want to accomplish. Otherwise, it becomes a very short journey, and then they may not be still satisfied after the final outcome.
And I'll say one thing, then if you do that, you are one of many.
Yes.
You know, working with so many customers, what I see is they are hungry for different.
Yes.
They are hungry for experiences. They are
Yeah.
hungry for somebody that stands out.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
if they're seeing 3 salespeople from a similar industry in a day, right?
Yeah.
They all come. I will tell you from now what they will do.
Yeah.
They will come, shake their hand, have a seat, grab their coffee or water, open their laptop, and start presenting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
It's a very common thing.
They
yeah.
will start presenting.
Yeah.
Dear customer, this is what we have, the newest technology,
Yeah.
the newest product, the newest service. And
Yeah.
the client has absolutely no interest.
Yeah. And lost within 5 seconds.
Lost within 5 seconds because guess what? You're the third supplier that
Yeah.
day talking to them about a similar thing.
Yeah.
But how about if you did this to shock them a little bit, right? You go into a meeting and you just have a chat.
Yeah.
You ask, how is everything going? You know? Without getting into sensitive topics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have the small talk with your customer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, inquire a little bit about their personal life, you know. If you see in their office, you know, there's a picture of their family, you ask, how's the family doing? How
Yeah.
are the kids doing?
Yeah.
These kind of little things really make you stand out.
Yeah.
Because then the client feels like
Comfortable.
a person
Yeah.
and a human,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Rather than ChatGPT selling us something.
Yeah, you're right.
So there's a human behind it.
Yes.
I think that connection is super important, especially in this region.
Yeah.
A lot of clients in this region make very emotional decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, there is rational there, but trust me, 90% of the decisions are done
Absolutely.
on an emotional level
Absolutely,
because they
absolutely.
trust you, they like you, and they want to do business with you.
Yeah, I was actually talking to another guest, and she's a doctor, and we were saying, she asked me, do we make emotional or rational decisions? I would say that, I mean, both of us had the same conversation, like we all make emotional decisions, but we justify it with rational,
100%.
logical reasoning, you know. So we are all emotional beings. We want to be connected. We want to be felt important. And I liked what you said, when you meet a client, just break the ice. And rather than just value addition, keep that value creation in mind, because we all want to add value.
Of course.
How are you creating value for your client, which actually then creates value for yourself as well? And it's a journey which is going to, it's like a, you know, partnership when you're going to your client. Otherwise, the attention span of everybody is so less today. I love, it's like, it's a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for bringing all of this, because we have these conversations with salespeople by saying that if there are 3 suppliers coming,
Yeah.
how are you differentiating yourself?
Right.
You know, and then you come under that pressure that, oh, there's price. The only way they could differentiate will be price.
Right.
Because
Which is a death spiral.
that's
Yeah.
something, the
Yeah.
only way client can push you back is also
Right.
with with
Right.
price, you know. So brilliant. I mean, so one of the things which come to my mind when you're saying this is, there's a lot of pushback salespeople go through. A couple of reasons could be they don't prepare well, so there's a pushback from the client. Client has not accepted what you're actually sharing.
Yeah.
So there's success and failure are 2 sides for salespeople, right? How, in your experience, and I'm sure with so many workshops you have done, what could be that a salesperson could pick from failures and make sure that, or failures or learnings, a different word
Yeah.
of it, how do you think they can actually go ahead and, really learn from those failures and see that they apply it in a different way, in a fresh perspective, in their client engagement? So, yeah.
Yeah, I
mean,
think, look,
just maybe an example or.
I
your
would say failure is really when you stop trying. That's how I define failure.
I love that.
So failure is not failing.
Yeah.
Because even if you fail, and trust me, I had my fair share of failures, and it's gut-wrenching, I'm telling you, it's not pleasant,
Yeah.
but you learn from it.
Right.
Always you learn from it. I cook a lot. I
Yes.
experiment a lot in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I fail quite a lot. But
Right.
sometimes I'm like, wow, I actually stumble upon something, and I'm like, wow, that's actually good.
Yeah, something new.
From a failure, right?
Right.
So that can happen very naturally. And the same thing goes for professional life.
Right.
I think the whole thing is around experimentation in a controlled environment.
Right.
Right? So you take a controlled risk. And you have to be brave to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I get it.
But again, we talked about standing out. How are you going to stand out if you don't actually take a leap?
Yeah.
Right? You need to take that risk calculated risk. You do it in a controlled environment. So in a lot of our workshops, for instance, we spend 2 days with clients. The first day is all about dreaming, going big. We ask the question, why not? Instead of, that will never work. So we have this very open way to think about things.
Right.
The second day we try to filter, right?
Right, yeah.
Not we try, we filter.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure we have tangible results coming out of a workshop. And then usually we will come out with 3 solid ideas, and one of them will be kind of out there. Now, what they will do usually is they will run a concept test, right?
Okay.
To check with the consumer. So, of course, you don't just go and launch that product because it felt like a good idea. We need to validate that idea.
Right.
And that's what I mean. You take the risk in a controlled environment.
Okay.
So it's not you're launching the product, but you're testing with the consumer. And if there's good uptake, that gives you confidence, right?
Right.
That if you launch, you are going to be successful.
Yeah.
So it's those controlled things that you do that gets you to the next big idea, the next big win.
Right.
But if you just don't experiment, you'll be successful, but you'll be bored. I can promise you that.
Yeah. And not experimenting means you're not moving out of your comfort zone. I think it comes back to that.
Yes.
And not moving out of the comfort zone means not coming out with new ideas. And so you're doing the same thing again and again and expecting new results, which is obviously not going to work in the way.
Which we know is insanity's definition. So
Absolutely. And today's world, which is so fast-paced and so many things changing continuously, it gets a little overwhelming for everybody, right? So
Definitely.
it is important to be agile, to be open, to move out of your comfort zone. And I like what you said, a calculated risk. Try it out. Without trying, you will not know whether this works or not. So experimentation, I think in the food world, it's such a big thing, right? You keep experimenting, and the chaos which you go through is so much to learn from.
Absolutely. Look at the success of Dubai chocolate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a major experimentation.
Absolutely.
Right? That the founder, Sarah, was pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
She was looking for chocolate, but also desserts, Arabic desserts, and she couldn't find anything that actually
was healthy.
Met her need,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So what she did, she literally put these things together in her kitchen, and that's it. And it went viral.
Yeah.
So that was a risk.
Yeah.
That was experimentation.
Yeah.
I think companies need to do more of that.
Right.
And that's what, again, we bring to the table. We positively challenge your thinking.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not about telling you, oh, you're wrong, you shouldn't do that. No. What you've been doing is working, right? Because you are successful. But to get to the next stage.
Yeah.
Because as you said, look at the supermarket shelves.
Yeah.
It's so crowded, right?
Yeah.
How is your product going to stand out?
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to be different.
Yeah.
And you need to be what the consumer is asking for at the right moment. So to do that, you need to think differently.
Yeah.
Because then you will get a different result.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think today what's happening is the B2B and B2C space is kind of blending because you as a consumer, the experience you are having when you walk into your a supermarket is that experience of wanting to see something different is what you're expecting from your suppliers when you're sitting in a B2B chair making big decisions, when you're talking about complex. And especially, I think, in the food world, it's even more complex, more sensitive, more riskier because, with the regulations and, the sensitivity is far more higher. So you got to be much, much more careful. So how do you not experiment? You should, because you wouldn't know what should really work and what can really work. That's a very, very amazing point which you brought up, Seda. So that brings me to a very, I'm curious.
Okay, great. Fantastic experimenting, what we talked about.
I'm curious to know when we talk about innovation, okay, and I love that topic of innovation, what you said, co-creation and innovation. Do you think organization, irrespective of whatever industry they are in, like whether it's food or technology or healthcare, do you think organizations should probably think about having sales innovation centers which they can come in and talk about bold ideas, and bring customers into the innovation center?
Yep.
Today, a lot is happening on the technology center.
Right.
Most of the tech companies have their technology center where customers come and experience a product.
Right.
but from a human connection, from really having that right sales conversations and uncovering needs, these concepts. Do you think organizations should think about having sales innovation centers more? I wouldn't say more than, but along with technology innovation centers. Do you think that will be a great idea?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think in the food sector, we see that a lot.
Okay.
So a lot of, not a lot, but few clients I'm working with have their own innovation centers.
Okay.
So they bring their clients there together with their sales team. And, you kind of spend a day there. They can, explore kind of what you have to offer that is not in their office and not in their office because it feels like a different environment, right? So I think that can be applied definitely to different industries, 100%. That's one strategy. The other one could be like a mindset kind of a training.
Okay.
So we also run these kind of trainings like a lunch and learn, for instance. So you pull the sales team and you actually kind of run like a 2-hour session with them where you kind of expose them, right, to different ways of thinking and different strategies they can try with their customers.
Okay.
So I've done those sessions with some companies and we had some very good feedback because it always gives them different way again to approach their clients.
Right.
And as I mentioned, since everybody's doing the same, I think the companies that do it differently definitely stand out.
Yeah, I think
so. That could be another strategy.
Brilliant. I like that point you said, mindset workshops, and which is such an important factor in today's world. That how is your mindset in being adaptive and agile and open to new learnings? It's such a critical aspect which is very, very much I think ignored because when we talk about sales workshop, we talk about what's in your funnel, how do you approach those opportunities, who are the stakeholders you're talking to, but mindset sits at the core of it is what I feel, and it's such an important factor to drive different perspectives. So this is something I'm going to take away from our conversation. Mindset workshops. I'm going to suggest to a lot of my clients, and I would love to have you come on board on that.
Sure.
So is it also critical? I mean, with the AI world, right? The conversation will be incomplete if we don't talk about AI because we are in the center of it. And I'm a very pro AI, but I'm also a human connection is such an important aspect as well, it has to go together. So is food and beverage industry embracing AI the way many other industries are at this point in time, and what are the kind of challenges you're seeing from that perspective? And do you think there can be a different way of selling in the food business with AI, and how are organizations really adapting to AI in the food and beverage?
Yeah, I think it's making its inroads. At the moment, I think it's still premature, in my view. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, definitely, to use AI for the better, let's say, use in the industry. I think one area where I see a huge potential is personalized nutrition. So, AI knows, and I'm sure, my ChatGPT knows, right? What my lifestyle looks like, what I'm eating, what I'm not eating. So if we were to do that for everybody, and if we were to log in our, our health parameters in there, and tell AI, like I want to have more vitality, or I want to have more energy, or I want to manage my whatever it is, diabetes, or whatever it could be, hypertension, and then AI can kind of do a personalized nutrition for us. As long as we stick to it, I think it's going to be helpful. So that's one area. I mean, I personally use AI for that purpose, and I think more companies can do the same. But obviously here also the discussion becomes, a lot of products are mass targeted. So the moment you start to personalize, you are going to really get very granular. And the operations become very complex. Right? But you can find certain segments, I always say archetypes, right? And I'll give one example, which is diabetes. So a lot of consumers here in the UAE, in GCC, are diabetic. And most of them are kids. Having said that, I don't find a lot of options for them in the market. Right? So AI could be actually a great way, right, to kind of target this segment. So you're not targeting you or me personally, right? But you're targeting a community that has a common need with products that address their need, right? So it could be used for that purpose.
Correct.
So that's one. Another one could be, women going through menopause, for instance. This is such a hot topic now. Many people, it was like a hush-hush kind of a topic, but now, women do have different needs during that time. And you don't necessarily find any food beverage products that actually cater to those needs, right?
Absolutely.
So if you're a woman going through that journey, you kind of feel helpless because you're kind of consuming products that are for everybody. And your needs are different.
You're already going through a challenging time, and plus you don't have the products which you want to. So focusing.
So like I'm bringing it to another place, but sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, there's no further opportunity in innovation." That could not be more wrong. There is always opportunity to innovate.
Absolutely.
As long as you know the trends, right? And you're aware of the dynamics, the demographics, what's happening. And I think AI can be a super helpful tool to actually help you get your hands around that. Having said that, I'm a big believer in human creativity. So I do use AI actually in my workshops as well. But I will bring AI only when the human creativity is completely depleted. Right?
Okay.
Because we are humans, our brain will come to a point you cannot come up with any other ideas, right? You will have a mental block. After like a 1 day, 1.5 day, that's quite a lot of brain power. And then we bring AI in. And we look at what AI has to put on the table. And sometimes it's overlapping with what we had, actually most of the times. But sometimes there will be 1 or 2 really good ideas in there. And sometimes
suddenly opens your mind.
Exactly. And sometimes we take that and refine it. So again, it's a great tool used properly.
I like the word you said. It's a tool. It's not something which is replacing you.
It's a tool.
It's just something which people have to consistently remember. It is a tool which enables you to get better, because what you're inputting is what it's outputting. And of course, it's going to get better and better and better the way you are going to use it. I like what you said. People say there's no more opportunity in innovation, but the word innovation itself means it is limitless. Like you kind of, there's new things coming. That's the meaning and definition of innovation. So it is infinite, depending upon how much are you ready to work towards that. So does this mean, this is like, again, I'm trying to understand, does all of this mean, because this is a question very much asked by a lot of clients from different industries to me, and I thought it'll be interesting to hear from you, that is selling to a food and beverage industry different from a healthcare, and is healthcare industry different from oil and gas selling, or selling at the fundamental remains? I have a different perspective, but I would love to hear from you.
I think food and beverage is a lot of fun. One of the reasons why I love this industry is because it's so dynamic. And it has to do with your body, it has to do with your mind and your soul.
All three.
All three coming together. Now, I'm not an expert in other industries, but healthcare equipment, very important, obviously. If you have a need for it, right, whether it's preventative or like a treatment, that's very important. But there's no, I don't want to say emotion around it. Because I don't know if there is emotion around it. But for food and beverage, for sure, like most people love to eat and drink. Right?
That's a way to express your love and emotion.
Everything. Sometimes your anger, right? You have a tub of ice cream because you're angry, or you're frustrated, or you're happy, or you're sad. So I think that's what I love about food and beverage, because it puts our emotions in the center of the buying decision. And again, as you said, we rationalize it, right? By putting whatever around it.
A lot of logical reasons,
But that's what I find the most interesting about this industry. Is that it's so heavily rooted, in who we are.
So one of the things which I also feel from taking from the clue from your insights is it is creative, but again, like you very very, very critical point which you raised in the beginning, and I love to keep at that, is identifying the need and uncovering the need is such a critical aspect.
Yes.
And which is so universal to every industry, right? Even in healthcare, if you're selling an MRI machine, what's the need behind the need?
Yeah.
I mean, is it patient care? Is it speed? Or is it, the best in technology? Things can be different for different organizations selling the same product.
Right.
In oil and gas, it could be different, but again, there's a need and there's a need behind a need. So universally, I think that the aspect of need stays the same, uncovering the need as sales.
Yep.
But of course, from an experience perspective, it could be very culturally vibrant. It could be very fun in
Yep.
food, but in healthcare, it could be very serious. In oil and gas, it could be a little different. Technology could be very innovative. So that aspect could be different.
Yep.
But when it comes to customer centricity, I think what you brought up in the beginning is co-creation, identifying your customer's needs, really bringing your client on board, in the discussion is such a key aspect. So, I would love to. My daughter is in the food and beverage industry, so
Yes,
she keeps
right.
talking about the fun part of it. But there's
Yep.
so much of work which goes behind that,
course.
because what you put out there has a big, long journey which goes into the whole process.
It is, and I think, given the current context of the economy,
Yeah.
companies want to innovate smarter
Yeah,
because they don't have limitless resources,
Absolutely.
right? People and money.
yeah,
So this is where, if you're going to innovate, you might as well do it right from the get-go,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Bringing all your function together, aligning everybody, starting with the right challenge or the opportunity,
Yeah.
and getting to a place where you wouldn't have, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't take this approach.
Yeah, yeah.
So this really limits the risk. And it makes things so much faster. We have a process called from zero to hero.
Okay.
In 3 months,
Okay.
you can start a project and you will have a product ready for industrialization.
Brilliant.
And most companies will take 18 months, 24
Yeah.
months to innovate.
Right.
Because there's a lot of different loops, and then they
Yeah.
have to align stakeholders and meetings, endless
Wow.
meetings.
Okay.
So we do that all in one workshop.
Okay.
So that really cuts the time, which means it makes you faster to the market, and hopefully you'll be the first one there
Oh,
to really
brilliant.
capitalize on the return.
Amazing. I would love to know a lot more after our
Sure,
conversation about
anytime.
zero to hero.
From zero to
And
hero.
That's something which our audiences would love to know as well. And that's a great tagline, zero to hero. I'm going to use that somewhere probably.
Absolutely. I know we're running out of time. Just
Yes,
one,
no, but we still have time.
one little or one big major, I think, area where you can just change a little bit, something very small, but it will have a huge impact on your success as sales is selling less and listening more.
Yeah, I wanted to come to that as well. So you just stole my thought. That's such a brilliant statement you said. And I was wanting to ask, what is the future of sales and innovation?
Yeah.
Like, what should be at the core?
Yeah.
So selling less and listening more, do you see that as a challenge, that listening is a big...
Yes, because this is, and I'm honest, in everything I say, is what I've seen over the years is sales is always sitting there ready for the next move, right? So when the customer's talking about something,
Yeah.
they're not listening,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They are just planning their next move.
Yeah.
But I should say this, or I'm going to give them, 1 year free,
Yeah.
or I'm going to do this, and as you are formulating this in our brain, because it is a myth, we cannot multitask.
Yeah.
This is scientifically proven, by
Yeah,
the way.
absolutely.
So even ladies, we think we can do makeup and be on the phone and cook at the same time. No, we cannot, right? Your brain will always do one function at a time.
Yeah.
So as a salesperson, if I'm listening to you, you're my customer, and as you're talking, I am thinking about what I'm going to say to you. Guess what? I haven't heard a word you said.
Right.
And I see this all the time. So when I mean listening, active listening,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And you just listen, because trust me, customers will always tell you what their pain points are.
Yeah, absolutely.
What their needs are, what their desires are. So if you're listening, you will grab onto it.
Amazing. So if you're thinking about asking the next question, that you have not listened and you've lost to understand the customer's needs.
Absolutely.
And your client will also figure out that you're not listening, because
Of course,
our
your
emotions
face will tell.
will tell that you're not listening and you're selling, and then you've
Exactly.
lost the customer. So there's a term which I always use called strategic silence. active listening means strategic silence. That give a
Absolutely.
pause, let the customer talk, because they say that silence pushes the other person to fill the gap. So when I ask a question and I'm pausing, the client or the opposite person is compelled to fill the gap, and that's where the real information comes out.
Because they become uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Right? You're like,
exactly.
okay, why are they not talking?
Yeah.
That is such a smart strategy.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And it works 100%.
Yeah, it does work. That's how human brains, because like you rightly, I like that point as well,
Yeah.
because we can't our brain splits into multiple tasks and none of them become efficient.
Yes.
So because you can't multitask and you're just asking some questions, your client is also going through that challenge, because there's some repository of information which they have not shared.
Yeah.
And you just asked the next question or pushed him to another statement, you lost the whole part of it. Okay, brilliant. That's another. Listen more effectively, and this is something which I want to emphasize. Listen effectively, actively, and not selectively. Brilliant statement, Seda. I mean, it's such a pleasure talking to you. So many insights and beautiful nuggets of information. If you have to say one thing for yourself, for this entire sales audiences listening to us, or the entire sales professionals the world has, what's that one thing they need to remember while in their sales career?
I would say, as a salesperson, you are working for your customer.
Okay.
You are not working for your company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your customer, as long as they feel you got their back, your customer knows that you will solve their problem, they will buy from you and they will be loyal to you.
Perfect. So solving customer problem is the key for salespeople to keep in mind. And I love this conversation. I would love to have another episode with you, Seda. It was so brilliant.
Anytime.
Thank you so much. And for our audiences, where can they find you? Is it on LinkedIn, your website? You want to just share those details? It'll be lovely for them to connect with you, not only from the food and beverage industry, but for them to know about zero to hero. And this is something I want to understand as well as we talk later about it.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you. It was really a pleasure spending this time with you, having this cup of coffee with you.
Thank you.
We can have many sessions as you want, because this is a topic I'm deeply passionate about.
I can see that.
And I want to change, the way that things are being done. So thank you for that. I'm very active on LinkedIn.
Yes.
So my audience can, so your audience can connect with me on LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, I do, product reviews. I will talk about trends. And I don't get paid for this, so I'm not an influencer.
Right.
I try to influence people to make better decisions, right? Whether that is as a consumer to make a better decision, or as a manufacturer to make better decisions, how to innovate.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm on TikTok as well.
Okay.
TikTok is when this is where I connect to Gen Z.
Okay.
And I also gather insights from them.
Okay.
So it's a fun platform for me.
Okay.
It serves a dual purpose.
Okay.
And then, of course, my website, they can go there, check out what we do.
Okay.
These workshops could be interesting, obviously, for any sales organization to become more impactful.
More innovative, more
and
impactful.
higher performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And for us, you are a influencer, because the kind of conversation, the kind of insights you've given, that itself is influencing a lot. So, a definition of influencer may not be followers I would say the kind of expertise you have. And look at that, you have 200 co-creation, 200 workshops you've done, you've experimented, you've been in MasterChef. It's a big, long journey you've gone through, and so much of experience is great for our audience to take on board. So I would leave you all with this thought about identifying the needs, uncover your customers' needs. Really, you are a part of your customer's journey, and not just selling by yourself or for your organization. It is, how are you solving your customer's problem? That's the statement I'm taking from Seda as we close this conversation. And for many more such great insights, we are going to bring on Sales Igniter. Stay tuned, and I would love you all to share with us topics which you think you want to hear and experts you want us to bring on board. We would love to do that. So keep igniting conversation, keep igniting the strategic silence in your conversation with your client, and have a fantastic time ahead.